Witness number 3, Thomas Heywood. Oenone and Paris reveals the name William Shakespeare on Venus and Adonis is a mask. In his little-known philosophical work, Valerius Terminus, Bacon conveys that he will publish some of his works openly and others secretly, either anonymously or behind a series of literary masks, reserving part to a private succession. His Rosicrucian Freemasonry Brotherhood guard Bacon's secret life and writings to the present day, including the secret of his concealed authorship of the Shakespeare poems and plays, that, in accordance with the statement on the title page of his New Atlantis, will be revealed in the fullness of time. The curious Thomas Heywood, about whose early years virtually nothing is known, had a secret and hidden relationship with Francis Bacon and his Shakespeare poems and plays. Within a year of the publication of Venus and Adonis, there appeared in 1594 the narrative poem Oenone and Paris by T.H., believed by orthodox scholars to be Heywood's first published work, which is a close imitation of Bacon's first Shakespeare narrative poem. The only known copy of this work, which is held at the Folger Shakespeare Library, lacks a title page. Its editor, Joseph Quincy Adams, succinctly summarises how the two poems are inextricably bound up with each other, with the one a very close and deliberate imitation of the other. They share the same theme of unrequited love, approximate the same plot, the same setting, the same stanza, the same really ornate style, and with the title Oenone and Paris to parallel the title of Venus and Adonis. The address to the reader, prefixed to Oenone and Paris, explicitly reveals that the true author of Venus and Adonis was hiding or masking himself behind a pseudonym. Its author adopts the same language used in the dedication of Venus and Adonis to the Earl of Southampton, who, in the years leading up to its publication, was residing with Lord Bacon at Gray's Inn. Above the dedication is a Baconian AA headpiece. In the Oenone and Paris address to the reader, its true author repeatedly alludes to the use of a literary mask. Here you have the first fruits of my endeavours and the maidenhead of my pen, of this rude and unpolished poem, and thus, fearing the worst, I have sought in some sort to prevent it. Nevertheless, in the publishing of this little poem, I have imitated the painter, giving you this poor pamphlet to peruse, lurking in the meanwhile obscurely. By clearly imitating Shakespeare and his poem Venus and Adonis, he would present his poem openly to the view of all, while hiding himself closely in a corner of his workhouse, to the end that if some curious and carping fellow came to find any fault, he might amend it against the next market. With himself hiding behind the initials T.H. and the concealed author of Venus and Adonis hiding behind his pseudonym William Shakespeare. The second Shakespeare narrative poem, The Rape of Lucrece, with an even more intimate dedication from Bacon to the Earl of Southampton, appeared in 1594 with his monogram F.R.B. appearing in the first two lines of the first page of the poem. This was again imitated in a play of the same name, The Rape of Lucrece, credited to Heywood, a masque for Bacon, first printed in 1608. There is no surviving record of it having been performed in a public theatre, although there may have been private performances of it at the London houses of Essex or Southampton. However, Drayton refers to it having appeared on the stage in his poem Matilda, printed in 1594. It appears that Bacon retold the story of his Shakespeare poem The Rape of Lucrece in dramatic form, around the same time or shortly after the publication of the poem in 1594, with the play of the same name, The Rape of Lucrece, acted at a private performance or on the London stage. Above the page listing the dramatis personae in the first edition of the Rape of Lucrece play appears an upside-down Baconian Rosicrucian AA headpiece, a device used to indicate to the initiated that secret knowledge is about to be disclosed about Bacon. This confirms that Bacon is the author of the play The Rape of Lucrece. The play The Rape of Lucrece features a character named Valerius, a merry lord among his Roman peers, which is highlighted and emphasised on its title page. The same name was used by Bacon in one of his philosophical tracts, Valerius Terminus of the Interpretation of Nature, with the annotations of Hermes Stella, that he originally intended to circulate disguised behind the pseudonym Valerius Terminus, and as its annotator behind the pseudonym of Hermes Stella. In his essay Hermes, Peter Dawkins, an authority on Bacon, Shakespeare and the Rosicrucians, explains the meaning of the names. The double name, Valerius Terminus, thus embodies the idea of the mortal immortal, or man-god, the same theme as that of the Gemini and the major theme which underlines the Shakespeare mystery. In his Valerius Terminus, Bacon conveys that he will publish some of his works openly and others secretly, either anonymously or behind a series of literary masks. There is only one known copy of the rare poem Oenone and Paris in the world, and it is at the Folger Shakespeare Library and lacking the title page. The poem is another companion piece to Venus and Adonis, and as we have seen, they share the same theme of unrequited love, approximate the same plot, the same setting, the same stanza, the same really ornate style, and with the title Oenone and Paris to parallel the title of Venus and Adonis. In the address to the reader, its true author repeatedly alludes to the use of a literary mask. Bacon is concealed behind the initials TH, and the author of Venus and Adonis concealed behind his pseudonym William Shakespeare.